So just to get started, you were like a serious contender for the first boot in the premiere. How aware of that were you heading into the first tribal council?
I actually don't think I was considered as much as it's sort of portrayed through the edits because we all collectively, the five of us, aside from Nicole, decided the vote was going to be on Nicole pretty early. And we needed to use me as a decoy. And so the plan was, hey, let's throw Annie's name around as much as possible so Nicole feels safe, so she doesn't play her shot in the dark. Let's have Annie kind of isolate herself a little bit. So some of that was very much by design with the five of us. So I actually don't think my name was really at risk for the first one. I think it was just done as a tactic to make Nicole feel a little bit safer, and it worked because she didn't play her shot in the dark and she wasn't out searching for idols and things that at least that we know about. So I think it worked okay.
Yeah. And is that what made you confident that you were in a leadership role on the team after Nicole was voted out?
Yeah, I definitely thought that I was secure. I didn't even know if I really was in a leadership role. I felt like I knew what was going on, which was why I thought I was like could be in a puppet master role because like I think I understand what's happening with all these relationships. But I thought my relationship with Alex was super strong. And ultimately, I think he did what was best for his game that night in voting me out because I think that the other three had a very tight thing going on more than I think I even thought. And so, had he sided with me, it would have been a 3-on-2 situation, and then that would have been bad for his game. So, I think that, yeah, I thought I had a stronger relationship with Alex than I did, but ultimately, I think he did what he needed to do for his game. So, I think it kind of makes sense in hindsight.
Yeah, and I think he did like make that decision to turn on you in this episode. Like leading up to this, like he was like very like Annie's my secret number one. Like I want the secret alliance. Like he pointed you out from the very beginning as like the person he wanted to stay close with. And then the events of the game in this episode kind of forced his hand a bit, I think. Like you said, he had to choose one side, right? So Jay said that you weren't helping collect coconuts and you were kind of just telling people what to do about that. Is that true?
Not even a little bit. That was one of the more disappointing edits for me personally, is that I didn't I came into this game trying to contribute physically because that's what I had to contribute. I was like, I know how to work really hard. And so I'll build the whole shelter if I need to do it. I'll spend all day finding food. I mean, I was spending all day not hunting for idols because I knew very quickly I was never going to find one. I was like, everything looks the same out here. I don't know how anybody ever finds an idol. But I was like, what I will do is go collect food. And I would spend all day collecting food and shelter stuff and all that. And they thanked me so many times for that. So for it to kind of edit to show, oh, Annie's so bossy. What happened with that particular edit is that those guys didn't know. Alex was the only one who knew. I'm not just a musician, I'm a doctor. I have a running biomechanics analysis company. So I know a lot about the human body. So I was just trying to tell them find the coconuts with the water in them because then we've got the coconut juice and that's got potassium and that'll help our dehydration. I'm sure they were looking at me like, what? Who are you? And why would you be telling us this stuff? Like it comes across as bossy if you don't have context about why I would be saying that. But as far as like me drinking all the coconut water and all that is not what happened. I was very much a contributing member of the food, finding food and helping to help around camp and all of that kind of stuff. So,
So did they know this context? Or like you didn't tell them about your career in this regard?
no, Alex was the only one who knew, and I shared all that with him very early because I wanted to tell him, "Hey, I'm not going to share this with the rest of the tribe, but here's something so you know I'm telling you the truth and you're my guy." So I wanted him to know, but I didn't want to show up and say, "Hey guys, I front a rock band, but also I'm a doctor and I have a company and I'm a CEO and I just wanted to go in a little bit under the radar, and it was apparently a little too under the radar. So maybe in hindsight, not a good decision, but that's what I was thinking when I was out there.
Gotcha. Yeah. And did you think that the tribe was like without a leader and you wanted to step into that role? Maybe like what was your strategy behind stepping into or like just trying to like present yourself as a leader, a possible leader for this group?
Yeah, I think part of it's in my DNA. I mean, I'm a CEO. I'm bossy. I front a band. I do all the things that, it's baked into me to want to lead, especially if there isn't anybody leading. And Jake would kind of take control, but he didn't necessarily lead. He would just sort of hand down, "Hey, this is who the vote is today. You're safe. You're not, whatever." And so he would sort of hand down things. But I felt like we needed to do some stuff around camp. We needed to find food. Otherwise, we were never going to win a challenge. And we needed to build a shelter and we needed to do all this stuff. So I just felt like somebody had to kind of step into that role. But you know what? That's what happens all the time. You stick your head out and somebody chops it off because you've stuck your head out. If I would have just kind of sat back and let people tell me what to do, I think I might still be there. I don't know. But it's hard to say. Hindsight's 2020. So
Right, right, yeah. And I actually agree with you that players shouldn't be that afraid to go to tribal council. I think that it's actually more impressive to keep on surviving tribal council, but of course that's easier said than done to survive it, right? So, do you think it was still a smart strategy to try and get Jake out in this episode? I know you changed your mind, but just that
I
original strategy.
Yes, I do. I actually think my strategy, everything that I did, I know it didn't play out well for me on this season, but I think different tribe, different season might have been a different outcome. In that particular episode, and really my thought around Jake was I don't feel like I could personally trust him to protect me in any scenario. I think I had a loose relationship with him because I was a stronger female of who we, kind of had to choose from. And so I was like, well, I think he'll keep me around for a little while, but I definitely think once we get to the merge, one, he's going to beat us all in the physical challenges. He's going to protect Sophie. He's probably not even going to protect Alex over Sophie. That was kind of my thought. So I felt like we needed to split the two of them up. So I thought let's do Jake. And then, because I thought maybe Sophie and I could work together loosely a little bit more than Jake and I could. So that was my thought. But then when we lost that challenge so abysmally, and Sophie had such a hand in that, I was like, we gotta vote her. I mean, she's a great social player. She's awesome in so many ways, but she'll be the first one to tell you that, physically that's not her strength. And it was a bad one. And the puzzle was just, it was heartbreaking to watch us lose that challenge. And so I thought we have to vote Sophie tonight, right? Everybody, like, right, right. So yeah, I think trying to split the two of them up was still the right move, and we'll see how it all plays out for the rest of these guys.
Yeah, and it seems, I mean, we're only 2 episodes in, of course, but it seems like Alex and Jake's alliance is very close. I was a little surprised this episode to see Jake and Sophie kind of come out as like, no, we're really the strongest alliance. So, what did you observe about those three? And do you think that Jake and Sophie are closer, or Jake and Alex are closer?
I think Jake and Sophie are closer. My strategy going in was to find the one person I thought I could align with, found Alex, said, hey, let's build our secret alliance. Now let's not talk again. Let's meet up once a day and kind of make sure we're on the same page, but let's just not let anybody sniff this out. Meanwhile, let me go see what I can do with Sophie. You go see what you can do with Jake. And then we're sort of controlling things from the inside without them knowing about our thing. So, where all that started to go a little bit awry is when I woke up in the middle of the night, I think like between day 3 and 4, whatever it was. It was about 2 in the morning. We were all sleeping on the beach, and I saw Jake and Sophie sitting right next to each other having this very intimate conversation for like an hour. And I thought, uh-oh, this is bad. Because at the time, I didn't know they had anything really going on. So I'm sneaking over there on my belly, trying to listen in, and they would look over and I pretend to sleep like an idiot. But that was the first time that I realized there was something big going on with those two. The next morning, I said, Alex, we have to split those two up because I just saw some stuff last night. And he said, yeah, I know. I've been seeing some things too. So I think he was starting to worry. But I told Sophie, hey, we should, think about Jake or Alex. I had to say Alex because otherwise they would have thought that I had something going with him. So I had to throw his name in there, but I would have never voted Alex. I really thought maybe we should go Jake. But I just didn't realize that Sophie would run right back and tell them that because their relationship was so tight. So I misjudged the relationship between Jake and Sophie, and I think Jake will protect Sophie over Alex, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That would have been fun to see you crawling over to and then pretending to sleep.
It was pretty ridiculous.
Some very sly stuff there, yeah. And it seemed like you went into tribal council maybe trusting a little bit that you were safe because of course you also knew Alex had this idol, right? So how would saying that trust doesn't exist in Survivor help your game had you survived this elimination?
I still to this day there's two things about this game that I stand by that I said. One, this stuff isn't personal. People do not vote you off just because they really don't like you. They vote you off because they're trying to play the game and they're trying to survive one more day. And I think that we cannot take this stuff personally. And two, I don't think trust is a word you can use in Survivor. You can pick people that you think you can align with, But you can't trust anybody. There's only one winner. That person will vote against you in the end every time. There is only one winner. This is a zero-sum game. Jeff says it all the time. So you cannot trust somebody in the way that we think about trust in the real world.
Right.
You can align with people and hope that your voting block works, but you can't trust them. And I think I knew that. I knew there was an outside chance that I might be going home. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I went into I didn't leave stuff back at camp. None of us did. We all packed our bags every night because you never know what's going to happen on Survivor.
Right. And do you have any regrets about saying that trust belief in tribal council?
I have none because I believe it. And one thing about me, for better or worse, is I am pretty genuine and authentic to myself. And the things I say, I really truly mean them. And I think that can bite you on this game because I have a real hard time lying to people. And I don't know when people are lying to me. And it doesn't play well in a game like this. I was very bad at reading when people were lying to me. So I don't regret it. I still feel that that's true, and it played out exactly. It shows. I proved my points. I couldn't trust anybody. Alex wrote my name down, and he was supposed to be my alliance, so I couldn't trust him either. That's
Right.
sad, but it's true.
Right, right, yeah. And did when Sophie pushed back on that statement, did you realize you were in trouble?
I didn't realize I was in trouble because I knew she was talking about Jake. I knew that her alliance with Jake, that's what she was really speaking to, and maybe her alliance with Jeremiah too, because the two of them are very close. So I knew who she was talking about, and I understood her perspective on it, but I just didn't feel like that.
Sure. And when the four of them were out on this idol hunt, you were back by yourself. And you, when Alex came back, you said you suspected something. What were you doing in that moment alone? Did you notice that everyone was gone? Were you worried? What was going on?
I really can't remember actually what was happening right in that moment when they were idol hunting, because there were other times when I was isolated, and again it was very much on purpose, like, okay, let's make Nick feel safe, you go do this and kind of act depressed or whatever, and so we came up with some strategy around that. I think Alex and I had something similar, some kind of similar conversation around that then, because I think we were trying to make, there were so many like double, triple crossing conversations going on. I think at the moment we were trying to sort of make everybody think maybe the vote was going to be on Jeremiah and then get Sophie, because we were kind of suspect whether Jake would actually vote for Sophie or not. So Alex and I kind of like, he was trying to feel it out a little bit without me present. I think, if I remember correctly. So that's kind of how I never isolated myself on purpose. I was never like, oh yeah, you guys go ahead, let me hang back. Not unless it was a group decision. I didn't realize that they were off idol hunting at the time. So it was a misstep on my part of all that.
Yeah.
Because after I see the episode back, I'm like, oh, had I been the one that wandered down and seen Alex trying to carry a big chain with a ball on it and all that, maybe I would have been the one that was part of that whole thing. But they all kind of ended up together searching for this thing together, and now they all know about it. So I'm the only one who doesn't. So, that's on me again for being off somewhere I shouldn't have been, or
So
should
it
have been with.
sounds like so it sounds like this episode helped you understand your elimination a little bit more.
It definitely did. And it does make me think that, like we talked about, maybe Alex really was with me, but then his hand was kind of forced. And that's sort of how I feel like it probably was, but it's, it all kind of will keep playing out as we hear more from him and Jake and all these guys later on down the road.
Yeah. And to wrap up, what is your take on Jake's shoe bandit bit?
Dumb. I don't even know. Like it just, we all thought it was an animal of some sort. I was sleeping up in the shelter because it was really cold down on the beach. And so I would get freezing at night. And so I would come up like midway through the night, sleep in the shelter, and something was gnawing on my foot in the middle of the night. I thought, what is that? And so I thought it was whatever little animal was running around camp. So we all kind of convinced ourselves that that's what it was. But ultimately I would wake up and find my shoe and put it on and go back to work. So I didn't really care that much about what was going on. It's kind of funny now that I realize it was Jake, because like of course it was Jake.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what is that going to do? You're just like making people confused a little bit. Like it's he's just like throwing it a couple of feet somewhere else. It's not like putting it somewhere like doing something effective with the shoe. So it's like what's the goal here?
It's really hard to know, but I also will say when you're out there on the island and you're just kind of suffering through the day on no food and no water, and you can't, there's not much you can do unless it's a challenge day. I think everybody comes up with fun things that they can do. You know, the one tribe is doing yoga on the beach, and we've got somebody hiding our shoes. Like it just, people played hide and seek on the show. Like it is kind of a I don't know. I think it's probably some of that too. It's just people having fun together on a in a weird experience.
And is there any piece of like comfort from your family or a significant other that you carried with you through the game?
I didn't have anything particularly important in that way with me. It was more just the things that I remembered that they told me, and the stuff that I sort of carried around from an emotional perspective more than anything physical. And that to me is the best thing you could ever carry around because that's with you always and forever. So
What was something that helped you through?
no, my family, so my husband and my stepson and I, we always watch Survivor together. And I just remember them telling me, listen, you just go and be yourself. And if they don't like you, that's a them problem, And I thought to myself, for better or worse, I am who I am. And I am being myself on this island. And, whether it plays well or not, at least I'm true to myself. And I feel proud. And I really am proud of how I played. And even though I didn't end up winning, and I would have loved to make it longer, I still went in and I was myself. And, it's just a game. And I'm going to be friends with these people forever because we have this crazy shared experience. And I don't care that they said bad things about me and voted me out and all that. It's just a game. They did what they had to do. So, yeah.
Great. Well, Annie, congrats again on making it onto the show. And I did think you have it was fun to watch you on the show, and I'll miss you in this
Thank
season.
you.
So
Thank you
yeah,
for
and your
saying
hair
that.
too. I'll miss seeing that. Yeah.
So many people have said so many mean things. There's always like, who's this whack job, 50 years old with purple hair? I was like, what's wrong with you? It's great. I love purple hair.
The curls and it's cute. I like it. So yeah,
Thank you.
thank you for taking the time.